Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nikki the Rose. If you're new here, I'm a celebrity makeup artist based in Los Angeles. And for today's video, I'm very excited because this is going to be a step-by-step guide on how to wear makeup for the non-makeup wears. I'm gonna grab my first product and that's gonna be a glowy SPF. This is the Supergoop Glow Screen. It's SPF 40. I have the shade Golden Hour. There's two shades you could choose from. One's a little bit lighter and this one's a little bit deeper and just more golden. So I'm gonna start with this. And the reason why I wanna start with this is because this video is very, very specific. These tips and these techniques are gonna be very catered to the non-makeup wear. And there's a lot of you out there, and I talk to you a lot online, especially. You reach out in my DMs, we chat, and I try to give the best advice that I possibly can. And that's actually what inspired this video. So after talking to you all online and trying to give like my best easy tips, I came up with this idea that I wanted to share just really easy makeup tips for the person that doesn't want to wear makeup, or the person that doesn't know how to wear makeup, or someone who wants just a very streamlined, very basic way to wear makeup in a non-intimidating way. So it doesn't matter what your skill level is, if you have any skills or if you have some, these tips will be great for so many of you. Now you can definitely use this sunscreen with your fingertips and just rub it all over, but I prefer to put on with a brush. This is a BK Beauty 106 brush. I'm gonna take that and just start to work it all over. Now, one thing I want to point out is I chose the Golden Hour shade out of the two glow screens because I don't know if you can tell, my face is quite a few shades lighter than the rest of my body. So I'm always struggling to even out my complexion and even out my face and match it to my body. So if you're someone out there who doesn't have this problem, you know, just go for either the lighter glow screen or go for this one depending on what your skin tone is. But in case you're wondering why I'm going for the darker one, it's because I need to even this out. And if I'm not wearing foundation, it would be pretty hard to do that. So this is going to give me the evenness that I'm looking for, like the cohesiveness that I need for my face to match my body. So I'm applying this all over, even under my eye, because it is a sunscreen. So you want to make sure you get your entire face, including your eyelids. So I'm going to go over my eyelids. Now you can also wear this on top of another SPF if you wanted to. The purpose of this really is not for the sun protection, to be quite honest. It's to give you that healthy, hydrated, glowy skin. So this is gonna act like our glowy skin product. It's gonna act like our really natural highlighter. So we don't have to put a highlighter on top. And now that that is on all over, you can see that I am quite glowy. I'm also protected. But more so, I'm glowy all throughout my face. So my complexion's got like a nice boost. It's feeling really healthy. It's looking really healthy. It's gonna look beautiful in person. And now we can move on to spot concealing. This is something that I highly, highly recommend if you are a non-makeup wearer. Like, meaning you're not someone who's gonna just grab a liquid concealer, go crazy, draw it all over like you see me do all the time. Like you see me, I love to do that. No shade in that. But for the non-makeup wear, that's just it's too much product. It's too intimidating. It might be just too much to blend out. They might not have the time for it. And you might not want the look of that too. So this is for the non-makeup wear. I'm gonna grab a cream concealer. Cream concealers for that kind of look are your best friend. They're super easy to work with. They stay put pretty well even without having to set them with powder, which I'll show you how to set it with powder in a really easy way. But you'll want to get one that's a neutral enough color that you could wear as a spot concealer, like meaning around different areas of your face where you might have more redness, where you want to have some coverage. Let's say you have a breakout or just anything you want to cover around your face. But you want to be also light enough or neutral enough that you can also wear it under your eye. Because for the non-makeup wear, you're not going to be walking around, generally speaking, with two different kinds of concealers, right? So this is in the shade Tiramisu. It's the NARS Soft Matte Cream Concealer. This is just a phenomenal, phenomenal concealer. If you have not tried this concealer, I highly recommend you go out and get it, especially if you are a non-makeup wearer. Now to apply this, I'm gonna use a very small but mighty and fluffy brush. This is an old school brush. It's the Real Techniques. The name was even rubbed off. It's very old. But this is a great, great tool to apply cream concealers, powders, so many different formulas. But for this, it's gonna make it really easy. So I'm gonna dip into that Tiramisu Soft Matte Concealer. And I'm gonna first work this around my nose. Now, my nose, I have allergies. And I get a lot of redness around my nose. So the first thing I want to do is just buff some of this concealer and just buff this around that area. This is like my problem area, so to speak, right? So my nose is where I need the most coverage, and then whatever's left over, I'm just gonna work it into this area of my forehead. And there's like nothing on my brush at this point, just an FYI. So I'm not really adding a ton more product. I'm not adding any more product at all. I'm just using whatever's left over my brush just to blend it out. Now, since this has a soft matte finish, it's actually gonna end up looking extremely natural and skin-like on your skin. So it's not gonna look makeup-y, which is a great thing, especially, again, if you're not wanting to look like you have makeup on, this is gonna be where it's at. So I'm gonna take more of this product, same brush, just buff it under my eye. Now, when you're concealing under your eye and you're someone who is just wanting a little bit of makeup, less is more with your under eye concealer. Don't go crazy. Don't apply a heavy amount that you can't even blend out or can't even properly set. Less is going to be more. And it's all going to be about precision concealing. So don't put it all the areas that you don't need it. Think about those areas that you need it the most. Spot conceal, blend it out, call it good. The reason why this is important to point out is if you're wearing a small amount of makeup, but then you go too crazy with one product, like either like your, let's say your foundation or your concealer, you end up just looking like you have a lot of makeup on because you don't have all the rest of the face makeup on to bring balance to that. So it ends up being like kind of lopsided in a way. So I'm gonna take a little bit more, and I have a lot of redness in this corner of my eye. So I'm just gonna pat that in. Pat it in. You could also use your fingertips for this. I just prefer this fluffy little brush because it does basically all the work for me. And now, you know, we're not going for like flawless perfection. We're going for just enough to get you going and to wake up your complexion, just the bare minimum. So I'm gonna take a little bit more. I do want to add some to the top of my chin because I do get a little bit of redness right here. And then with whatever's left over, again, there's like hardly anything on my brush. Like I've barely dipped into that concealer. I'm just gonna work this a little bit on top of my cheek. I'm gonna graze the top of my eyelid. Not dipping into more product where it's gonna look obvious, but just using that excess amount, that little bit that's left, just to wash it over my eyelids, because you can see I have pretty red and veiny eyelids. I mean, most of us do. Now buffing that out. I'm gonna do a little more around my nose just because it's an area of concern for me. And then before I do this side, I'm going to show you the subtle difference that this little bit of concealer has made. Now, once I think I'm done, I'm going to take a little bit of a step back from my mirror. I'm going to get a better perspective of the overall picture that I'm painting. And then once I'm happy, okay, let me show the difference. So one side has the concealer, one side clearly does not. I do have the concealer on this side of my nose, but overall, the concealer is just on this side of my face. Once you get the picture and you understand like the difference that makes just with that small bit of concealer, I'm gonna go and finish this side. Same technique. I'm gonna start under my eye. Now, if you were to use your fingertip for this part of the application, you would just dip in, and I would suggest using a patting motion. So like pressing and patting that into your under eyes. The other benefit of using your fingertips in this area of your eyes is your fingertips will actually help to warm up the product and just help it adhere better to your skin and really like melt onto your under eyes. So if you feel like your under eyes are just, you know, they're not taking to this product right away, or maybe it's just needs to be warmed up a little bit on your skin. Let's say you're a lot more dry than I am. I'm more of an oily skin person. So this kind of melts onto my skin very easily. But if you have more dry skin and you really need to like press it in and melt it into your skin, then disregard the brush, use your fingertip for this area and do a patting and pressing motion. So just getting in that darkest corner of my eye and then bringing it up just a bit towards my tear duct. fact, I'll do that on this side too. This is a great technique also. Let's say you're tired and you don't want to look tired. You want to give yourself like that instant, I slept 9 or 10 hours kind of look. If you bring your concealer in this little pocket where your tear duct is, especially if it's a touch lighter than the rest of your skin tone, this will instantly bring and draw light to this area that tends to be pretty dark because it's a little hidden corner of our eyes. And it'll give you the illusion of like an overall brighter eye look. So same technique, I'm going to show you how to pat this in this corner of my eye where I have all that visible redness. Of course, you know, cater it to how much coverage you feel like you need. So I'm going to stop where I feel like where is necessary for my skin. I'm going to finish concealing this side of my nose with whatever's left over, just like I did on the side. I'm just going to gently buff out the edges. That's it. That's all you're doing. You're just buffing out the edges so there's no visible stopping and starting point with your concealer. And now with whatever's left over, I'm going to just drag that across my eyelids just to give it a nice even tone. A little more around here. A little spot concealing right here. Blend out the edges so it's nice and seamless. Now I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to look in the mirror. Overall, I'm happy. I feel even. I don't feel like I have a ton of coverage on. Honestly, it feels like I have, and it looks like I have barely any makeup on. So for those non-makeup wearers, this is the kind of coverage where you want to stop. You want to stop at this point where you just feel even and you feel ready to hit the town. That's all you need. Now, before I set my under eye concealer and all the concealer that's on my skin, I'm going to move on to cream blush. And the reason for that is because I want you to, as a non-makeup wearer, I want you to choose cream blushes over powder. The reason for that is because unless your skin is perfectly powdered, the room for error is pretty high with powder blush. So let's say your skin is not properly set with powder, like I said. If you go to put a powder blush on top and you're not really skilled in applying it very carefully, it could skip, it can leave tug marks on your face, it could just not blend out as easily as a cream blush. Now, the other reason why I want you to choose a cream blush is because it's more natural. They almost become a part of your complexion rather than just sitting on top. So much more natural. Two of the ones that I love for a really, really natural makeup application and that are easy to blend on. So especially for the non-makeup wearer that has, let's say your skill set is 0 out of 10, these are going to be great and really, really easy formulas to blend on to your cheeks. So the one that I'm going to use today is the Nude 6 Nude Buff. This is just a beautiful, really neutral shade. So for my skin tone, this is going to be a perfect natural tone. For a slight bump up and for a slightly more pink tone, depending on like what you're looking for, the Milk Makeup lip and cheek creams are great. This is the mini, and it's also great for like if you're on the go and you just want like something really tiny and compact that you can like throw in like a little itty bitty purse, or you could throw in like your small makeup bag or in your car, wherever you're gonna apply it. These are really nice for like the non-makeup wearer that's on the go. Now, the reason why I want to put this on before my powder, like I said, is because if we were to put powder under our eyes, which is the main place I'm going to have you powder your skin and powder your overall complexion, if we had it too far down and then you went to put your blush on top and then it started to interact with that powder that's under the eye, unless you're really, really skilled at layering creams on top of powders, which can be really difficult, I want you to avoid it. So that's why we're going to do this first. What I want you to do instead of just swiping it on your cheeks and then trying to blend it out, instead, I want you to take a stippling brush. So I'm going to use actually the same brush that I applied my glowy SPF with. It's a BK Beauty 106 brush. The reason why I like this is because it's going to apply and blend it out within seconds. It's going to be so quick, so easy. So if you don't have blending skills and you're not like a master at blending, this is going to do all the work for you. So I'm going to take my brush. I'm just going to tap it. So I just want you to tap it, get like a decent amount, but not like a crazy amount of blush in the brush. So now that's in the brush, all you have to do now is figure out where you want your placement to be. For me, and I've talked about this in a previous video, I like my blush placement to be higher up than you would traditionally see it. So I'm not going to pop this on the apples. Instead, I'm going to bring it further up, so honestly onto my cheekbone, and start to press it. Now, the reason why I like it up high is it just gives my skin and my complexion a little lift up. It's subtle, but it's noticeable. You know, it's not like a crazy difference, but it just gives you that little subtle sculpt. So as you can see, I'm not buffing, I'm not going back and forth, I'm not like aggressively like blending this product off my face. You don't want to do that. Just take your time, slow it down for a second, and just tap. That's it. Literally, you're just tapping it on your skin. This is the easiest, most foolproof way to do it. Like, it's undetectable. So I've dipped in a couple times because I want to layer this product and this color until I'm happy with the color payoff. So start slow. That way you have more control, and then just start to build up the color as you want it. So you might want less color than this, than what you're seeing on me. You might want even more. And if you want even more, maybe choose a darker blush. It all, of course, depends on your skin tone. So tapping that on, nice and high up. And you can see this is kind of hitting my under eye. It's definitely crossing just on the outer portion of my under eye, which is fine because we don't have to worry about that because I don't have powder there yet. Now, I'm gonna finish the other side. I'm gonna tap in. So same motion. So you're gonna tap, 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 and then you're gonna tap, tap, tap. Again, just remember, no aggressive buffing, no crazy swirls, no digging it into your skin. Just keep it nice and gentle, and it will go on so quick and so easy. So if you want to take it up a short little notch, like a half a notch, take a little more of that blush. You're gonna tap it just on the bridge of your nose. That's it. Not on the tip, just literally the bridge of your nose. So what that does is it just brings a little bit of warmth and a little bit of balance to the center of our face. So you're bringing that cohesiveness to your complexion in a really, really subtle way. Now that the blush is on, we're done with cream products for the most part. So now that means we can go talk about powder. For the non-makeup wearer, I'm not going to show you my favorite loose powders because you know what? They can be messy, they could be intimidating, they could just be too much trouble to apply. I find that most of the people that I talk to that don't want to wear a lot of makeup or that just don't have a lot of makeup skill, they gravitate more towards, generally speaking, they gravitate more towards a pressed powder. So for that, I want to show you two different ones. Now for someone who has normal to combination dry or to very dry skin, I highly recommend the Kosas Cloud Set Powder. This is going to feel like nothing on your skin. It's not going to dry you out. It's not going to look heavy or feel cakey on your skin. It's just going to be lightweight and it's going to do the trick perfectly. For the person who is the non-makeup wearer that has really oily skin, I've been obsessed with the NARS Soft Matte. I picked this up recently. I've been wearing it every single day since I got it. I have the shade Creek, but this is just a phenomenal, straightforward, super mattifying, but still very lightweight. Feels really, really lightweight on your skin. Like doesn't feel heavy at all for like a mattifying powder. It has a teeny bit of coverage to it, like a teeny bit. So which actually is going to work with you for this kind of makeup look. It's going to give you like that little hint of extra coverage that you might want. So two different options depending on like what your skin type is. Choose wisely. Just for demonstrating purposes, I'm going to use the Kosas because oily skin people can use the Kosas as well. So I just want to use this one because it's a little more universally pleasing. And for the brush that I'm going to use, it's a BK Beauty 108 brush. So this brush is so easy. It's a great multitasking brush. It's small, but it's fluffy. And again, just like this one, it's small, but mighty. So it's going to give you some nice, clean, precision powdering. So I'm going to take this brush, I'm going to swirl into, ooh, this does have some fallout, by the way, when you hit it too hard or too aggressively. So just be mindful of that. I'm going to tap off the excess. Now, keep in mind, there's been quite a bit of time since I first applied my under eye concealer and now when I'm going to set it. So in that meantime, I've talked, I've smiled, I've had expression. So creasing has definitely happened. It's minimal, but it's there. So I'm going to take that concealer brush one more time, do a little sweepy, nothing crazy, blending out those tiny little creases. Now that I have buffed out my creases under my eye, I'm going to take that powder and I'm first going to start by pressing it. I'm just going to press it just gently. Press it into that under eye concealer, which is going to just lock it down. It's just gonna smash it into your skin, basically, which sounds rough, but like that's exactly what you want it to do. You want to smash it into your skin so it's there, it's gonna stay put. It's not gonna just be sitting on top of your skin because again, if you're a non-makeup wearer, you don't want anything to look like it's sitting on top of your skin. You want it to just look like your skin. So pressing it in, I'm gonna squeeze this just a teeny bit. This is optional, but I like to squeeze like the tip of the brush just a touch so I can really get in that tiny, tiny corner of my eye, and just to press this and to set that tear duct area that we applied that concealer. So anywhere you apply that concealer is where you're going to want to put this powder for the most part. I'm not going to really powder my cheeks, which you saw I just kind of feathered out that concealer onto my cheeks, but taking it to the outer corner of my concealer. Now onto the side of my nose, a little bit down, just a little bit feathering out this way, because I want to reduce the shine right here. Now, it's great to have glow on the outskirts of your face, but when it comes to like this little nook of your face, like right here, if you have a lot of shine right here, what does this look like on camera? Like this side looks more smooth. It looks like you have no pores. You just look like you have really smooth, healthy skin. Whereas this side, any texture or any pores that I have, since it's so shiny with the glow screen underneath, it's actually enhancing that bit of texture or those pores that I have on my skin. So same thing, I'm gonna powder this under eye, taking that Kosas powder and just pressing it, locking it in. Again, really just keeping in mind that non-makeup wear that's out there. And for that non-makeup wear, if you're gonna use concealer, I have a lot of people that tell me online, when I have these conversations with them, they tell me like, well, no, I don't set my under eye concealer because that's just too much. It's too heavy. It looks unnatural, or it's this or it's that. Whatever the complaint is, it's different for everyone, right? But to me, if you're gonna wear concealer under your eye, you have to set it. You just do. This might be an unpopular opinion, but it's not gonna look good unless you set it just a little bit. And you don't have to go crazy. I'm not showing you how to bake. I'm not telling you that you have to. That's very, very personal. But if you're gonna wear concealer, you have to set it. Because honestly, in my opinion, it looks better to wear no concealer under your eye than to wear concealer under your eye and not set it. Because you're gonna have all this creasing, it's gonna look really heavy, it's gonna settle into fine lines, it's just not gonna look flawless or perfected. So it's better to go without than to go with, thinking that it's not good or it's better not to set it. Trust me, I promise you, it's better to set it. So just taking a little more of that cloud set powder, which is like literally light as air. It's so, so lightweight. Bringing it in the T-zone because I want just a little bit of shine control in that area. A little bit on my chin. And then powder is almost done, except we're going to take a little more of that powder, same brush, and we're going to sweep it on our eyelid. Just gently, nothing crazy. For the non-makeup wearer that has more oily skin or normal to oily skin or combination oily skin, just sweep a little bit of powder on your eyelids, and that way you can do what I'm about to show you, which is taking a natural toned bronzer, like a very, very natural bronzer for your skin. So a really natural bronzer that shows up just, again, very natural on my skin is Casablanca Matte Bronzer from Galactic. This is that bronzer that I grab when I want to look like I don't have bronzer on my skin. So for the non-makeup wearer out there, whatever your skin tone is, find a bronzer that looks so natural on you that nobody would detect it. And also, those bronzers are going to be the easiest to apply on your skin. So if you have no skill with blending bronzers on your skin and you don't really know where to start as far as like placement goes, if you get a bronzer that's too obvious or too dark or too orangey for your complexion, let's just say, or like the wrong undertone in general, it's going to be so obvious and you're going to want to avoid that completely. Just don't wear bronzer. So I'd rather you wear no bronzer than a bad bronzer that's not the right tone or color for your skin. So if you're feeling frisky and you want to delve into a little bit of a natural bronzer, let me show you how to do that for the non-makeup wear. So take a natural bronzer. I do prefer a matte one because it just looks, again, more natural. So avoid one that has a lot of shimmer in it because it's just going to be too much if you're doing that glowy sunscreen underneath. You don't want to be like glitter, shimmer, glitter, shimmer. It's just too much. You want to have balance. Now for a natural application, I want to talk about brush. Take a big fluffy brush. A big fluffy brush is going to be your best friend for a natural bronzer application because it's going to give you a really soft wash of color that's going to just go all over instead of having a small brush. Now let's just say, for example, you're going to use a brush that's around this size, this density. When you go to put this on, it's going to deposit a really heavy amount of product and it's not going to be fluffy where it's going to just blend it out really naturally. It's just going to sit on your skin. You're going to have to work really hard to blend it out to make it look natural. Now, if you take a fluffy brush like this, which please excuse the fact that it has product on it, I use this just for a previous tutorial, but I'm gonna use it for this tutorial because it's a great size for this application. So I'm gonna take the brush, dip in, tap off the excess always. Now for the non-makeup wearer out there, you wanna start on the top of your forehead. Just go sweep, sweep. Nothing crazy. Sweep, sweep. Gentle pressure. I'm not going and like buffing it on, like being really aggressive, just light pressure, sweeping it back and forth. Now, as far as the placement goes, with a bronzer, with any bronzer, if you're going for like a super intense look or if you're going for like a really natural look, you still want to keep in mind this rule of thumb. You want to keep in mind applying it in the areas that the sun would naturally hit you. So across your forehead, tap it on the top of your cheek, just like the high point, just to give it a little more warmth. Tap, tap, tap. Now I'm tapping in this spot because I'm going over that cream blush. So I can't really do that swirly swirl because it's going to lift that cream product up. So I'm changing my technique and I'm just tapping it on. With whatever's left over, I'm just going to go sweep, sweep, done. Like that's it. That's all you need. If you want to get a little crazy, you could always bring it down your neck. Just saying, totally optional. If you want to just warm up your neck and so you have like a pale neck, you can just throw it down the side of your neck. Really easy. Avoid the center. That's where it's obvious. Just do the sides and then you're done. Now, the reason why powdering your eyelids like I did earlier was so important is because now we're going to take that same natural bronzer. We're going to switch to a fluffy brush. This is just a BK Beauty 212 brush. Any blending brush is going to work fine for this technique. So just take a blending brush. You're going to dip into your natural bronzer, tap off the excess, looking straight into a mirror. You just want to do a nice, gentle windshield wiper motion. So just going straight back and forth, just warming up the crease of your eye. And what this is going to do is just, it's going to give your eyes a nice flattering wash of color. It's going to bring them out in a really, really natural way, like almost to the point where it's undetectable. But once I finish this side, I'll show you the difference. So I'm only going to go in about, I've only dipped into that bronzer about 3 times. And I've just used very light pressure, nothing crazy. I'm just sweeping it back and forth. And then look at the difference of just adding that little bit of bronzer on this side versus no bronzer on this side. Same technique. This is my more hooded eye, so I have to go much higher up in the placement just to even them out. Because the crease of this eye is hooded. So same thing, windshield wiper motion. I've dipped in about 3 times into that bronzer, just going back and forth. Super easy, like anybody can do this. And it's just a great way to give your eyes some really natural definition. So no makeup type look. We're done with bronzer. We can like put it away. We can move on. Now I want to throw in something that is not going to be for everyone, but you know, depending on what your comfort level is or what kind of look you really are going for, but this is still for like the non-makeup wearers. This is something that I recommend for anyone who wants just a really natural, easy color that they can just throw on their eyelids with their fingertips or their brush and be done. So this is a shade that's gonna be really good for anyone who's my complexion or lighter or a little bit deeper. They do make deeper shades in this formula. This is a Chanel cream eyeshadow. This is the shade Undertone, which Undertone, can you tell I like this eyeshadow? Undertone is just a beautiful, natural beige, like a warm tone beige. It's so subtle, it's so beautiful. And I always suggest this for my non-makeup wearers out there. And like I said, you could either use your fingertip, you can dip into it. This only works if you have short nails, just FYI. Okay, so now I got some on my fingertip. I'm gonna show you on this eye. I'm just gonna pat, pat. It's natural, keep that in mind. You're not gonna see this huge amount of color. Okay, now I'm going to use the brush on this other side just so you can see how easy it is. Pat, pat, pat. Keeping it on my eyelid, but you can see that this easily just blends right into, I'm just going to finish this side with my brush because it's It's just my preferred method. But you can see this blend so easily into that bronzer. It's cohesive, it's natural. It's your eyes, but there's a little something there that helps to bring them out. So I'm telling you, for that non-makeup wear, just do a nice cream natural shadow. And you can apply with your fingertips, quick and easy, just tap, tap, tap like you saw, or you can put it on with a brush. You don't have to have any skill. You really have to have zero skill to put that on. Okay, now for the non-makeup wear, for the person that does not want to wear makeup and does not have the skill or the wherewithal, avoid eyeliners. Just avoid them. There's no point. I'm going to show you how to get really easy, really quick definition on your eyes without having to get out a pencil or liquid eyeliners that are really intimidating, or gel eyeliners, even worse, even more intimidating. Just avoid it. Avoid the heartache. Just avoid it and instead pick up a dark brown shadow. Now, depending on what your skin tone is, you're going to have to cater it to that. For me, that dark brown that I love the most for a really natural makeup look, just one of them, I should say, is from this Kaja bento box. They're eyeshadow trio, so you get 3 different eyeshadows, but the darkest one is this really pretty and super, super neutral brown. So you can see it's neutral, right? It's like dark brown. It's not super dark. It's pretty natural. So it's going to be easy to put on. It's not going to be too intense. It's not too red. It's not too cool tone. It's like right there in the middle, which is perfect for my complexion for a no makeup look. So I'm going to use this. Instead of taking like an intimidating angle brush or something like that, I'm going to get a smudger brush. And I hope this is less intimidating for you. I think that it's less intimidating personally. So instead of having that sharp angle where you can kind of mess up a little more, it's just soft. So it's going to give you a nice soft application with your eyeshadow. I'm just going to take that smudger brush. I'm going to dip into the dark brown. Before I put this on, I'm going to tap off the excess so I don't end up having shadow fall out on my natural face. Now here's where you want to just slow it down a little bit. So take that eyeshadow and don't worry about doing a wing. You're not here to impress someone with a wing. You know, you're not going for that. You're just going for some soft definition on your eyes just to make them pop and to bring them out. This is especially important, like if you're someone who wears glasses, like eyeglasses, to see. You want to be able to see your eyes underneath your glasses. So just by having like that soft bit of shadow, you don't have to do eyeliner or anything crazy. You don't have to put false eyelashes on. Just frame your eyes and just enhance them a little bit with some soft definition using a dark brown shadow. This is going to be so quick, so easy. So taking that, I'm going to close my eyes. I'm just going to press this really close to my lash line. That's it. I'm not going to go back and forth. I'm not even dragging it across my lash line. I'm just using small and slow tapping motions. Now, you can pull it out a little bit in the outer corner. You know me, I can't help but give myself like a little hint of a wing. That's totally up to you and what you feel like you can, you know, what you feel comfortable with as far as like your ability with this. But if you want to start in baby steps and just line right by your lash line and then work your way up to that, that's totally fine too. I'm going to dip in to get a little more, tap off the excess, and just press a little bit more in the outer corner because I want the outer corner to just be subtly darker and just tapered very slightly as it goes towards the inner part of my lash line. That way it's not one big thick line from inner corner to outer corner. You want to still have like a slight taperedness to your eyeliner because it's going to be a more flattering way to wear it. So this eye is pretty much done. It doesn't have to be anything else but this. Like you can leave it at this and that's beautiful. It's soft. It brings out your eyes. It's going to define your eyes in a really nice, natural way. So moving on to this eye. Same thing. I'm just going to close my eye gently. I'm not like squinting really hard. So just softly close your eye. Just tap, tap, tap. I pulled it out a little bit just like I did the other side. Tapering it as I go in and just tapping. Now, that's it. You don't have to do the bottom lash line. I'm just going to point it out there in case you did want to do it. What I would suggest you do instead of doing that dark brown that I just showed you, you can go back to your bronzer, which is going to be a very, very natural tone. And just so you have this in your mind, in case you want to throw this into your no makeup routine, I want to show you just so you know how easy it can be. So I'm just going to take a pencil brush from BK Beauty. It's a 210 brush. I'm going to dip into that same really natural bronzer and I'm going to lightly and very gently go back and forth only about 3/4 of the way on my bottom lash line. You can see I'm not going this last quarter in because it'll be just too much. But this is a very, very soft, natural way to define your bottom lash line. This is also ideal if you're someone who does not want to wear bottom mascara. A lot of people don't because they don't want to have that look. It could be a little too much. It could also run throughout the day, which is a huge problem and huge issue. So if you have that problem in the past, I would just say avoid bottom mascara because it's better to have no mascara on your bottom lash line than have smudgy, runny, messy mascara on your bottom lash line. But to give your eyes that little bit of soft definition, just take that bronzer, pop it under your eye, and then call it good. Now, if you're handy with a lash curler, this is when you want to bust it out. If you're a non-makeup wearer, but you still want to have your eyes be open with minimal amount of makeup, this is a great tool to utilize. So if you're into it and you want to do it, by all means, grab a lash curler and curl your lashes. If this is not for you and you don't feel like you need to, or you just have naturally curled lashes on your own, you can totally skip this part. But I'm going to curl my lashes. This is the Shiseido lash curler. And pinch, 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 and then repeat on this side. I'm going to pinch, pinch, and then pinch. That's it. Doesn't have to be crazy. Now, talking about mascaras. Let's talk about mascaras. For the non-makeup wearer out there, don't go for a messy formula. Avoid formulas that are extreme, dramatic, super wet, chaotic. Avoid all those mascara formulas and just find one that is just straightforward. And to me, the first one that pops in my mind as far as like straightforward formulas I think anybody could wear and anybody could benefit from, this one from Exa, it's the 1018 Lash Amplifying Mascara, is great. Like a really great, it's a newer formula, it's a newer brand, I believe. They're an indie brand, but this formula is fantastic. It's one of the easiest formulas I think to build on your lashes. It doesn't clump easily unless you like really pack it on. But the reason why I really love it is because it's a cream formula. So I'm gonna take the wand, I'm gonna flip my arm, I'm gonna get to the root and then pull up. And then I'm gonna start to just blink down onto the wand. So I'm gonna kind of hold it still. You can see I'm just blinking onto that mascara. Now I'm gonna use a different motion. I'm gonna wiggle it back and forth, get into the root. If you're a non-makeup wearer, you're not gonna wanna pile on coat after coat. In fact, I'm just taking my fingertips and I'm gonna lightly grab any excess that I don't want in the inner corner of my eye. So just a soft amount. I'm gonna wiggle it back and forth at the root, and then I'm gonna start to blink. And then one more thing, as far as the technique goes, you wanna make sure that you're really depositing the most of this product at the root of your lashes and not at the tip. Now, like I said, I'm not gonna do the bottom lashes. I don't think it's realistic. I don't think that's something that someone who is a non-makeup wearer that's going for like a really, really natural, minimalistic way to wear their makeup, I don't think it's necessary. So I'm gonna skip that. I feel confident, I feel good because I have that little bit of natural shading on my bottom lash line with that bronzer. So I'm good to go. But to each their own, if you want to add it, of course you can. But I want to touch on brows and how quickly and easily you can fill in your brows if you are someone who is, looking for something just really natural and a really easy way to fill in their brows where it's not super obvious. So if that's the case, I want you to avoid pencils and instead go for either a tinted brow gel, or if you are someone who's blessed with bushy, beautiful, full Brooke Shields type eyebrows, then skip the tint because you're not going to need it and go for just a clear brow gel just to groom them and tame them and to keep them in place. That's all you're going to need. But for the people out there that are like me who want like a tint and want some like thickness and volume brought into their brows, for like people who have sparse brows, I would do one of these. Now, one's super duper cheap, one's a lot more expensive. It's the Benefit Gimme Brow. And then I have the Wow Brow from e.l.f. e.l.f. is only $4. I'm not saying that you should buy one over the other. It's just I want to give you like two options in case one tickles your fancy more. This is the one that I have in my brows right now. I'm just going to add a little extra just so I can kind of show you what it looks like. It's the same exact formula basically. So here we have the Benefit brush, which is actually even smaller. I actually prefer a slightly bigger one. I just get more out of this one. I prefer it. This one's a little bit bigger, the e.l.f. one. So I'm going to show you what the e.l.f. one does on one of my brows. This is in dark brown, I believe. And what I like to do as someone who has like extremely sparse brows, I like to take the tip of the wand, which has the most amount of product on it and most bit of fibers. And I like to just push it up. I've been obsessed with this brow wow. I think this is my third one that I'm on. In fact, I need to do an updated empties video because I have so many new empties since the last time I shot one. But you can see that gives you color, lift, fullness within seconds. It's so easy. Now, tinted brow gels are also amazing if you're someone who has some grays growing into your brows and you want to disguise them, you want to camouflage them. Get a tinted brow gel. It will just fix all your problems. It's so easy. Now let me show you the Gimme Brow just so you can see it. This is in the shade 5. It's like a dark brown. It's pretty close to this in tone. Might be a teeny bit deeper. I'm going to use the same technique. I'm going to push it up into my brows. This is just the technique that I think works the best. Like I said, if you have sparse brows, using the tip is a game changer. Okay, so brows are filled in. This one's just a more wet formula. This one's much more dry. I think this is just easier to work with, in my opinion. Okay, now we've reached the lips. We're onto the lips. And this is where you can totally interchange any of the things I'm about to show you and any of the ideas I'm going to give you right now. This is totally subject to change and based on like what your preference is. But I'm going to pick back up my Nude 6 cream blush because this is going to double as such a beautiful, quick, easy, and beyond natural lipstick. So I'm going to take that. I'm just going to push it on my lips. That's it. You can use a brush if you want. You can do whatever technique you want to do. I think this is just easy just to pat it on. So I'm going to pat it on and just press it into my lip. I'm not even going to blend it off with my fingertips. I don't need to. It's a really natural color. I'm going to swipe it a little bit on the top. Okay, now I wanted to show you some of my favorite options for a really natural lip. Some are pricey, some are dirt cheap. I'm gonna cover all the grounds. So now one of the first ones I want to show you is this Girlactic Jello Gloss Balm. All these are gonna be linked in the description box below, so you can pick and choose like, you know, which one is gonna suit your needs more. But this is gonna be like the chapstick lovers lipstick. So this is gonna be like the ideal lipstick for someone who is like an avid chapstick wearer that they can't live without their chapstick, like their Burt's Bees or chapstick brand, whatever you do. So this is for that person specifically. So if you want to like up the ante a little bit, this is one of my favorite ones. This is the Barely Nude, and it's just a beautiful, natural, like almost like a peachy nude. So pretty. This brand makes a whole bunch of different colors too, so you can go on the website and choose whatever one, you know, suits your skin tone and what kind of look you're going for. But this is just a great option for someone who doesn't want to wear a lipstick, someone who doesn't want to wear a sticky gloss, someone who doesn't want to do like a makeup on their lips. My next option is the one I'm actually going to put on. It's probably my favorite out of all these. No, actually, these are my two favorites. These are definitely my two favorites. But this is the Naturium Phyto Glow Lip Balm in the shade Petal. They have all kinds of different shades. There's one called Jam. It's like absolutely stunning on deeper skin tones. It's this beautiful, rich berry. This one on my skin is just a perfect, everyday, natural pink. So it's kind of like my lip color, but enhanced. It just goes to my lips. It looks kind of like, it's just effortless, like easy and effortless. So these are a conditioning lip balm, basically, but they have a tint. So let me show you what this looks like on my hand, just so you can see. So that's Petal. And, you know, again, it's not going to be sticky. So if you're someone who doesn't want to wear a sticky lip gloss, these are going to be so ideal for you. I promise you. Now, if you're looking for something that's really inexpensive, where you're going to save some money, but you're still going to get a beautiful outcome and it's still a beautiful look to your lips, these from e.l.f. are literally where it's at. They're the Hydrating Core Lip Shine. This is the shade Happy that I have. I got this for an e.l.f. Cosmetics full face tutorial and I've used it so many times ever since. It's really nice. Stays put on your lips. It's natural. It's such a great dupe for like the high-end hydrating lip balms that are on the market. I'm going to swatch this one next. It's actually much more of a natural tone, but that's the e.l.f. right there. Hydrating, like I said, incredibly inexpensive. I think these are $6. This is inexpensive too. This is like $10, I believe. They'll all be linked so you can check the prices. Don't quote me too hard. I might be wrong on some of them. Now, if you want to go a little fancier, I have two options from Givenchy that are really nice. So if you want to go treat yourself and you want to feel like some luxury on your lips, I highly recommend either of these. So this one right here, it's the 001 Liquid Balm. So it's just like a liquid, it's kind of like a similar formula to this, but with a like a doe foot applicator. I'm gonna swatch it now so you can see the color. But look how pretty that is. That's the Givenchy right here. So this will obviously give you a brighter pink. This also looks just stunning on deeper skin tones. If you want to like naturally enhance the pink in your lip, this is so pretty. Now, if you want to take it the next step up, also from Givenchy, this is more like the really expensive version of this, but with more pigment, if that makes sense. So I'm just trying to give you like a bunch of really good options, different price points, slightly variations in like pigment and stuff. But this is also extremely nourishing, extremely like balmy and comfortable feeling on your lips. It's not like a traditional lipstick. It might look like it is, but trust me, it's not. So this is the Rose Perfecto Lip Balm in 201. I'm gonna swatch it right here. This smells like heaven. It smells so good. So I'm gonna swatch it right here. It's just beautiful. So this is the Rose Perfecto 201. And they have different shades in this too. So if you want a deeper one or a lighter one, they have tons of different shades. Or not tons, but they have different shades to choose from. So these are like a good range of different finishes. Some are less pigmented, some are more pigmented like I just showed you. I think to finish off this look, to keep it like really authentic to when I want to wear like a no makeup look, I usually go for Petal. So I'm gonna put Petal on, use my fingertips. I'm just gonna pat this on. Feels so nice. These are not lip glosses, they're like lip conditioners. They're not sticky, which is the whole reason why I even pointed these out. These are specifically for my no makeup wears. Otherwise, I could have just shown you a really pretty natural lipstick color and a gloss and you'd be like, well, I'm not someone who wears makeup, so thanks, but no thanks. So these are for you. I know that there's one for you. Out of all these to choose from, there's definitely one that you'll love. So that wraps up this step-by-step guide on how to do your makeup for the non-makeup wear. These are not the most traditional techniques and tips, but I promise you, I know firsthand these are some really helpful techniques that I have shared with both my followers on Instagram through DM and also in real life. And I know that they're gonna help you out so much. If you try any of these techniques out or any of these products out, leave me a comment. I would love to know how they work out for you. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you wanna see more makeup videos like this one or more glam tutorials, you can check this one out right here. And I'll see you all soon. Bye.